Hi, you guys. Welcome to a new Unreserved con Shay episode. If you are new, bienvenido. If you're not, welcome back. My name is Shayla, and this is a place where we talk about what the people are talking about. Sometimes it's culture, news, politics, life. Today's episode is going to be about a life topic, okay? I saw this video going around on TikTok. Actually, no. It's a TikTok video that I saw going around on Twitter, now known as X, but I still call it Twitter. And it's essentially a teacher going on TikTok and expressing how kids are falling behind because of the lack of involvement of parents, right? I think his argument was kind of like parents need to be more involved in their kids' education because there's no reason why your fifth grader is on a level of a first or second grader, that type of vibe. And I think it is a valid point. Yes, there are some parents that are just negligent, and well, there may be some parents that are just negligent and just, are just living their life and having kids and just not worried about what their kids are doing. But here's the thing. People always take things a bit too far, right? So people grab that video from TikTok, they're posting it on Twitter and are like, your parents didn't do this. Your parents didn't buy a full set of the XYZ and made you do book reports. Your parents didn't give you a tutor. It was just so many like uppity type of tweets that I was just like, okay, let's take it a step back, because to me, I just felt like as a first generation student, I kind of had to speak out or just say something about it, because it was giving privilege left, right, in between, all ways, around, up and down. Okay, let me tell you something, and not you specifically, but just like the topic of the video. And like I said in the beginning, I'm sure there are those parents, those caregivers that are just like, they are able to help and choose not to. There's always two ends of everything. There's always the overboard and the not enough, the spectrum. Okay, so here's the thing, right? There are parents like mine that tried their best to help, but their best was still just not enough, okay? My mom moved to Puerto Rico. She had me, and by the time I was 6 years old, we came to Jersey, right? She worked factory jobs a majority of her life. And the truth of the matter is she never really learned English. I was in bilingual classes until I believe 6th or 7th grade. So even like me, myself, just learning the language was a struggle in itself. But like, I was known to be the student that always had a question. Like, I always asked all the questions that I had, and maybe at the time I didn't realize it, but it would later help me in my career. But like, I always had a question because I knew once I get home, my mom really can't help me. And not because she didn't want to, right? Like, she would ask me like, oh, Shayla, you did your homework. Everything's good. She checked on my grades. But like, she wasn't sitting down helping me with homework. And it's not because she didn't want to. It's just there wasn't really much she could do. And me helping you translate an assignment is just more stressful than me just trying to figure it out myself. Like, that's just what it is. So I think we need to kind of take a step back and realize that your parents knowing English is a privilege. Your parents having a car is a privilege. You having an internet is privilege. Having a laptop is a privilege. Having parents that probably graduated from college is a privilege. Did I mention a car? That's a privilege. Having, siblings around you that are older and can help you, that is a privilege. Having aunts, uncles, family that is around you that can help you, that is a privilege. Some of us didn't have any of that. Like, my siblings were all in Dominican Republic. Like, there was nobody I could really ask for help, FAFSA, none of that. Like, I literally learned as I went, and it was not hard and it wasn't easy. So I think, yes, we do need to maybe discuss, yes, it's important to discuss the fact that we need to be more involved in our kids' education. But I think there are systemic issues that can be changed in order to help the public school education system, the public education system. Yeah, that's what I mean. And as people, we need to also check our privileges. Like, I'm not saying that I'm happy that there are people that had all these things and they had their parents that like sat down at 4 p.m. every day and helped with their homework, and had parents that bought all those activity books and helped them, get ahead and do all of these things. But it's just like, not everybody had that type of, like, what's the word? That type of, like, not everybody was raised like that. And that's okay. Everybody's path is different. But I do want us to kind of step back a bit and check ourselves and not bash others that didn't have parents that were as involved. And sometimes it is that lack of just not wanting to, because they want to, go out party and just are not involved. But there are also those parents that do want to help, but there's just not much they can do. And like I said, a lot of times, like for me, I remember sometimes, I was raised in a low income household. So sometimes I would have to go up to my teacher and be like, the beginning of the school year, and be like, hey, I'm laughing now, but it's really not funny. But be like, hey, like my mom doesn't get paid till next week, or like she doesn't have enough money. So is it okay, like, if I don't have this book until like a week or so? Meanwhile, everybody already had their books and was already reading and had their stuff in. But like, I just didn't have the books because, my mom didn't have the money quite yet to get me the books. Or, we had to do some homework and I didn't have internet or a laptop. So I had to wait until we can go to a place and, do my little 30 minutes of homework with a laptop and internet when my mom paid for, at the place that we went to. Like some people are like, oh, well, you could stay after school and have, all these extracurricular stuff, a tutor, this, whatever. But like, if these extracurricular activities don't offer transportation, I'm here to tell you that most kids that really need it are just not going to stay, because maybe the school doesn't offer that after school transportation. So there's just certain nicks and knacks that it's just like, you don't realize that these things are privileges because you've always had them. And to you, it's like foreign. Like, what do you mean you didn't do this? Well, baby, not everybody has these resources and these resources and just opportunities. Like, let's kind of, and I feel bad for the kids because I remember feeling like, oh my God, like, what do you mean you don't know? Like, sometimes I would try to ask her for help, but it was just so stressful. It would be more annoying trying to translate and help her understand what I'm asking, that it's just like, never mind. And this is no discredit to my mom, because she did the best she could with what she had. And thankfully, look, now I graduated from college, I have my job, my career, everything is good. But honestly, I feel like I was a blessing from God, and I just always love education, because my mom, that's one thing she pressed on me. She was like, education, education, education. And she knew, like, this is the only way you're gonna make it out, okay? Like, education is our way to get ahead in life. And to me, that was my truth. Obviously, we still out here battling, trying to level up. But I knew, like, I didn't have a cousin that had it in anywhere. It was just, I had to, go to school. And that might not be everybody's truth. Everyone's path is different. But for me, education was my getaway, my way out. And yeah, that's all I wanted to discuss. Let's not bash kids or people because their parents aren't tutoring them all the time, or they don't have all of these nicks and knacks that you were blessed to have. There are people that are blessed to have stay-at-home parents that are able to just always be there for them and do all these things for them. But there are parents that just don't have that. There are kids that just don't have those types of parents. My mom worked a factory job a majority of her life. So I would wake up and my mom would already be like, at the job, and she paid somebody to pick me up, and by the time she got home, it was like, did you do your homework? How was school? Great. Okay. Shower, cook, and get ready for the next day. Watch some TV, and the same thing. Repeat, repeat, repeat. And I think this is why teachers are so important, because, you know, they are, and I don't want it to make it seem like, oh, well, the teachers are supposed to do what the parents lack, or like what they don't do, because at the end of the day, like, it's your kid, so you need to instill these things into your children. But it's just like, as a teacher, if you're seeing that this student is so way behind, I think you should be telling the parent. And if the parent isn't doing anything, then I think, like, we need to scale it up and be like, well, then this person needs, like, there needs to be other avenues to help a child other than just telling their parent. And if their parent doesn't acknowledge it, then it's just like, oh, well, then I guess they're just never gonna be on pace because their parents are never there. Like, I don't know. I think this is more of I think a lot of this is resource based, because, you know, a lot of kids just get home and they don't have all these luxuries and people that are there to support them all the time and help them, because some parents just don't have the time for it. And I'm not saying that that's an excuse, but that's just a lot of people's reality, especially in low income households. So instead of judging or thinking that you're better than the next person or the next child because you had all of these things, let's instead help. And I think this is why it's so important for the government, or just, yeah, the government, to help fund public schools. Because at the end of the day, yes, there are people that are in charter schools and these elite schools that have all this funding, but at the end of the day, it's like, the people that are in public schools need the most help, in my opinion, and we should be funding them. We should be able to provide, you know, computers and Chromebooks or whatever, like, to help kids get ahead. Because yes, maybe a lot of it is also during the COVID, a year and a half of homeschooling. Let's be so for real. A lot of kids were just not paying attention, because homeschooling, for me, girl, virtual school is, I couldn't do it. Thankfully, that happened just like my last semester in college, because I could not have imagined 4 years of virtual schooling. Even if you are tapped in, you're gonna lose focus because it's online. You could be doing it from your bed. There are some teachers that were like, no, your camera had to be on, but some teachers didn't care, and your camera could be off and you would just be chilling at home on your bed in class. Like, what else? I just think, yeah, that year for sure did impact children. And yeah, I'm gonna wrap the video. I'm gonna wrap up the video there. I just wanted to kind of speak up for my immigrant parents that do, you know, do the best that they can, but unfortunately it's not everything that all the other people get access to, but they do what they can. They work with what they got, and look, we make it. We might not be the smartest people ever, but we gonna make it out somehow, some way, because guess what? We always gonna work hard, okay? And yeah, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have an opinion on what I said, please feel free to comment down below, because I do feel like education is so important, especially nowadays when it comes to other things and politics and decisions that need to be made. Some people are just like, they don't think for themselves. They just follow the crowd and then just end up making the wrong decisions. So say yes to education. You don't have to go to college. You know, that's not for everybody. That's not what I'm saying, but education, knowledge is power. That's what, we'll end it on that. Knowledge is power. Bye, you guys.